Hey YA nerds, Rue here again with another episode of Reading Rue. Today we are talking about They Both Died at the End by Adam Silvera. It's a really awesome YA book. I got it from the library. This book came out September 5th, 2017, and it is, 368 pages, so not a heavy read, not a light read, kind of like smack dab in the middle. Perfect length, I feel like, for some YA books, and I think a lot of YA authors are doing like around the 300 pages range these days, because you can't just do them in one sitting, you need like multiple sittings, but not too many sittings. Like a 500 page book is a little long in my opinion. 350, 360, not too bad. It's like a page a day if you wanted to read it for a full year. Speaking of which, it is New Year's. Happy New Year's, everybody. I hope this New Year's Eve treated you all well. And, 2018 will be a really good year for YA books, I hope. It's already shaping up to be a really good year for me, so more on that, I guess, later as the year progresses. So for now, let's just talk about this book. On September 5th, a little after midnight, Deathcast calls Mateo Torres and Rufus Emeterio to give them some bad news. They're going to die today. Marco and Rufus are total strangers, but for different reasons, they're both looking to make a new friend on their end day. The good news, there's an app for that. It's called Last Friend, and through it, Rufus and Mateo are about to meet up for one last great adventure, to live a lifetime in a single day. Uplifting and devastating, charming and haunting, They Both Die at the End is a tour de force from acclaimed author Adam Silvera, whose debut novel, the New York Times called Profound. It's a story that reminds us there's no life without death, no love without loss, and that it's possible to change your whole world in a day. And that's just from the inside cover. On the back, it actually has the script from the Deathcast people, so it says, "Hello, I'm calling from Deathcast. I regret to inform you that sometime in the next 24 hours, you'll be meeting an untimely death. On behalf of everyone here at Deathcast, we are so sorry to lose you. Live this day to the fullest, okay?" So, really interesting concept for a book. I just want to tell you guys a little bit more about it before I go into the review. So in this world, which is parallel to our world in my opinion, everyone gets a phone call at midnight on the day they're going to die. Whether you take that call really well or you don't kind of shapes the way you're going to die and how long you're going to live for that day. At least we see that throughout the book. For instance, one guy is like, "Forget this!" and he flips out and he actually blows up a building on purpose and kills a bunch of people. So yeah, he takes a bunch of people with him. It's a little messed up, but I just wanted to explain that that's how it works. It's never explained exactly how the people in Deathcast know when someone's gonna die, but they do talk about that fact in depth. They mention it a lot, like, how do they know? How do they know? Nobody really knows how they know. And one of the main characters even asks the person who he's on the phone with, like, how do you guys know this? And the woman on the phone is like, I can't tell you, and even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you anyway. It's just this grand secret of the universe kind of thing. It's really weird. It's speculated throughout the book. It doesn't change the book into a fantasy book. It's still fiction. It just kind of adds this really interesting mechanic to the world that already exists. So I got an email about this book, as I've been getting emails about books a lot recently. And, I kind of kept my eyes open for it. It sounded really interesting and tragic, and I'm starting to realize I'm into romance a lot more than I thought I was. I think it kind of helps that a lot of YA books have romance already in them, although sometimes those romance a little, unneeded, I feel like. That doesn't happen in this book. The two characters kind of do, get together, but as the title states, they both die at the end. So it's a tragiromance, I would call it, but it's not so tragic that I wouldn't want to read this book again. It was really interesting, and I feel like even though the two characters knew they were going to die, it didn't diminish the message of the book or their relationship by the end of the book. So that was really cool. I finished this book in a weekend. It's really rare for me because I'm crazy busy, so And I actually ruined my sleep cycle trying to finish this book. I think I was up till 5 in the morning one night, because I got to that point, you get to that point in a book where you're like, I have to get to the end. I cannot sleep until I get to the end. So that's what happened with me, and I finished it. And it was funny to me because even though I knew they were gonna die, I was still surprised by how it happened. Especially since, like, all the characters in the book talk about how, like, some people get the phone call at midnight and by 1 a.m. they're gone. Both characters make it to, like, 10 p.m., which is unheard of. In this world, it's unheard of. So I thought it was really interesting. I surprised myself for sure by not crying at all for the characters. I am such a sap. And I, for instance, read a book while I was at work and was like crying at the reference desk because it was so sad. And that didn't happen with this. I think it's because I was prepared for their deaths. I knew it was coming, I knew it was gonna happen, so it was just kind of like 1, 2, 3, it's done. And I think it was incredibly sad that one character had to watch the other one die. And they talk about that in the beginning of the book too, when they first meet the two boys in the book, Mateo and Rufus. They say that, like, to each other, like, one of us is gonna have to watch the other one die. Are you okay with that? And I think it's Rufus who asks Mateo that, and Mateo's like, yeah, I'm okay with that. Why wouldn't I be? Like, I signed up for this. The characters were really touching, actually. I loved both of them to death. Haha. Rufus is bisexual, and it's like right out in the open. He's like, I'm bisexual. There you go. No need to hide it. I'm dying today. He's also in the system. He's a foster child in this house. It's like a group house with a couple of other boys who are like his brothers, best friends. And he's kind of, like, for lack of a better word, a thug. And I mean that because when we meet him, the first scene we meet him, and he's kicking the crap out of some other kid. And the phone starts to ring. And they think it's the other kid's phone, and he's all of a sudden like, am I gonna kill this kid with my hands? And it makes for a very interesting scene. I immediately liked him, his rough out, like, exterior, and how, like, the news of his death kind of, like, chip that away as the book goes on. Mateo is, like, really paranoid and anxious about everything. Every time he leaves his apartment, something bad happens, and now he's dying, and he doesn't want to leave his apartment, and that's how we meet him for the first time. So they end up going on Last Friend because, Rufus gets separated from his family because the kid who he was beating up calls the police in the middle of his funeral. So he has to, like, leave them, and he doesn't want to be alone. And I think that's, like, the overarching message of this book is, like, when you know you're gonna die, or even if you don't know you're gonna die, like, surrounding yourself by people who actually enjoy your company and who love you and want to be near you is probably the best thing you can do with your life. And it helps other people too, that you touch everyone around you in a certain way. And I feel like this book definitely talks about that. So that's part of why I really liked it. I had a hard time, honestly, reading this book at first. I've been thinking a lot about death lately. We've had a lot of deaths in my family and my friends and stuff lately. So honestly, I think it came at a good time for me personally. It kind of helped me come to terms with some things going on in my life. So I feel like any book that does that for an adult is great for, a teenager. I think in this universe, death is, like, not only expected, but you're informed of it. And like I said before, that could be a relief, or that could be the scariest thing in the world. And at first, the characters throughout the novel forget over and over again, like, oh, this is my last day. But I think that's a good thing. They experience so many awesome things throughout their day, and they reconcile so many things, and I feel like the concept definitely helped drive the story. I will say my only complaint about the book is it was a little cheesy. But I like cheese, even though I'm lactose intolerant. It was fun. I definitely, like, loved every second of the cheese. As you guys may know if you've been watching these videos for a while, I kind of curate this list from things I've seen on the internet as well as conversations I've had with other librarians and my own thoughts for reading so many YA books throughout my many long years. So here we are. So we have Wrecking Ball Endings, Broken Family Units, Youths in Danger, The Brooding Bad Boy, Only One Friend in the World, Switching Point of View, and Romeo and Juliet, or Romeo and Romeo. For my rating of this book, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for cheese. All the cheese. Like I said earlier, it was phenomenal. I really couldn't put it down. I enjoyed it a lot, but it was a little too cheesy. Just a smidge too cheesy. Sorry, Adam Silvera. Just a little. I would probably read it again, like I said earlier, even though I already know everything that's happening. It was just an interesting read. 9 out of 10. I love Lydia in all her forms. Before Penny, she wanted to graduate high school with top honors and go to college, to pursue politics and architecture and music history. She wanted to travel to Buenos Aires and Spain, Germany, and Colombia, but then she met Christian and got pregnant and found happiness in her new world. Lydia used to be the girl who got her hair straightened after school every Thursday. She was always glowing without makeup and loved photobombing strangers' photos with goofy faces. Now her hair is what she calls somewhat cute, somewhat lion's mane, and she will never approve any photo to go up online because she thinks she looks too burned out. I think my best friend glows even brighter than before because she's been through a change, an evolution that many can't handle, and she's done it solo. When I'm done throwing all the toys back into their chests, I sit down with Penny on the floor, watching as she blows raspberries whenever the cartoon character asks her questions. This is Penny's beginning, and one day she'll find herself on the terrible end of a deathcast call, and it sucks how we're all being raised to die. Yes, we live, or we're given a chance to at least, but sometimes living is hard and complicated because of fear. Penny, I hope you figure out how to become immortal so you can rule this place for as long as you like. Here's my vision of utopia. A world without violence and tragedies, where everyone lives forever, or until they've led fulfilling and happy lives, and decide themselves that they want to check out whatever's next for us. Penny responds with gibberish. Lydia comes out of the other room. Why are you wishing Penny immortality and world domination while she's learning to say one in Spanish? Because I want her to live forever, obviously, I smile, and make minions of everyone else. Lydia's eyebrows rise. She leans over, picks up Penny, and holds her out to me. Penny, for your thoughts? We both cringe. That is never going to be funny, is it? I just keep going for it, hoping that the next time will be it. But no. Maybe next time, I say. Honestly, you don't even have to give me your thoughts. If you want Penny, you can have her for free. She flips Penny around and kisses her eyes and tickles her armpit. Mommy meant to say that you're priceless, little Penny. Then she mutters, the priciest, priceless little penny ever. She sets Penny back down in front of the TV and continues cleaning. The relationship I have with Lydia isn't the kind you see in movies or maybe have with your own friends. We love each other to death, but we don't go around talking about it. It's understood between us, and words can sometimes be awkward, even when you've known someone for 8 years. But today, I have to say more. I prop up a framed picture of Lydia and Christian that was tipped over. Christian has got to be crazy proud of you, you know. Your Penny's shot at happiness in a world that makes cheap promises and has no guarantees and doesn't always reward those who never did wrong. It's like the world will just as easily screw with a good person as it will with a not so good one. But you devote your days to someone else selflessly anyway. Not everyone is programmed like you. Lydia stops sweeping. Mateo, where is this random flattery coming from? What's going on? I carry a bottle of juice over to the sink. Everything's okay, and everything will be okay. She'll be okay. I should probably head out in a bit. I'm tired. I'm not lying. Lydia's eye twitches. Before you go, could you help me with a couple more chores? We move silently through the living room. She scrubs oatmeal off a pillow and I dust her air conditioner. She collects cups and I arrange all of Penny's shoes at the door. She folds laundry, peeking over at me while I break down some diaper boxes. Could you take out the garbage, she asks, her voice cracking a little. Then I need help assembling that little baby bookcase you and your dad got Penny. Okay. I think she's catching on. I I place the envelope of cash on the kitchen counter when she leaves the room. Even as I grab the trash bag out of the bin I know I won't be able to return, I step out into the hallway and throw the bag down the chute. If I go back in, I'll never leave. And if I don't leave, I'll die in that apartment, possibly in front of Penny, and that's not how I want to be remembered. Rufus's approach is really smart and thoughtful. I pull out my phone and block Lydia's number so she can't call or text me to come back. I feel nauseous and a little dizzy, slowly making my way back downstairs, hoping Lydia understands, and hating myself so much, I race down the stairs faster and faster. So that's obviously Mateo's part. I would also like to give a secondary shout out to the fact that we have other people's perspectives, and it's really interesting that, you know, depending on who it is, like this person, Zoe Landon, the first sentence says, Deathcast called Zoe Landon at 12:34 a.m. to tell her she's going to die today. If it's a person that's not going to die, it says, here, wait, nope, that one who they called, nope. If it's someone who didn't get called, it says, Deathcast did not call this person, so they will not be dying today. But if it's someone that they did call, it says the opposite of what I just said. So I thought that was a really interesting mechanic in this as well. For the age range for this book, I will say 15, 16, 17 plus. There's nothing too crazy that happens in it, but it's kind of like the subject matter kind of needs that age range. There's a little bit of cursing, as per usual. And yeah, other than that, I think, you know, 15 is a good age to start, and 17 and plus is a great age to end it at. So yeah, that was They Both Die at the End. Go pick it up. Oh, one more interesting fact I forgot to mention earlier. Book was released on September 5th. Whole book takes place on September 5th. Interesting last fact to leave you guys on. As always, if you like my videos, you know, subscribe to get updates. I will try to update this every other Thursday until I run out of books to talk about, which probably never gonna happen. I actually created a list recently with some recommendations from some people. Thanks, guys. And it's at like 50. So I'm set for the next like year and a half, I think. So thanks everybody, and you know, Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys in 2 Thursdays. Peace out, YA nerds.